This LFO trick in Ableton gave me a totally unexpected pattern maker I didn't even know was there. Stay with me. Welcome back to the Five Dot Loft, where the process is the story. I'm Al Clark. This week I found something really unexpected inside Ableton's MELD synthesizer. I was watching this video from Sidebrain, and he mentioned a setting in MELD's LFO called Euclid. I don't know, like Euclidean geometry or something. It's buried pretty deep, so it's hard to notice. But within a few minutes of experimenting, things got really interesting. In a way, it's like a rhythm generator that creates patterns that are surprising and yet still locked to the grid. Let's dive in. All right, so we're here in Ableton Live. I have an instance of MELD going. I just want to briefly touch on how different MELD is from Wavetable. Wavetable, you're able to see everything, and so in MELD, you really don't see that. So this is a Wavetable synth, and I've got a basic shape going here, and I'm going to change the shape. And you hear it, but you don't see it like you do in the Wavetable synth in Ableton. And so as a beginning sound designer, I've been using synths for a long time, on and off. I'm really a guitar player, but I like to be able to see it. So if you don't know that triangle wave, sawtooth wave, square wave, if you don't know that and you're relying on your ears, for me at least, it was a little bit difficult. So that's just a little precursor to MELD is a little bit more of an advanced synth than I would say than Wavetable. For now, let's just get a basic shape going. I've got one oscillator going. I think I've got some settings going here. Yeah, this is 19. So we're going to open this up. Okay, that's going to be our sort of triangle wave there. And then this tone, I don't really know what that's doing. So I've got a setting here, 38.9, so 38.9, and this is our basic, that's our basic tone, okay? Now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using the LFO to create rhythms, right? And how we're going to create those rhythms is we're going to modulate the filter cutoff or the filter frequency. So here's my filter. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be modulating or changing that filter cutoff in the form of a rhythm. So let's get this filter cutoff to 110.00, 110, and it sounds like this. Okay, so way closed. Now, let's take a look at the chords I've got going. Because remember I said in my last video, I like to create the MIDI before I'm doing the sound designing, because I'm essentially designing for this particular rhythm. I've got a BPM of 160. I've got this 2-chord shape. I'm going from an E minor 7th to an E minor 6th. I'm just taking that 7th note of the scale and dropping it down to the 6th. I'm not in Aeolian, I'm in Dorian, so it's a major 6th. So let's open up this now. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, I want to modulate the filter. So I click on the filter and then I go to the matrix and I'm going to bring LFO1 effects. I'm not going to explain the difference between LFO1 and LFO1 effects, but basically it's the same thing. LFO1 effects is the same thing, only it gives you more options. So I'm just going to bring this up to 100. Okay. And now in the shape of a sine wave at 1 Hertz time, I'm opening and closing that filter. Okay. Now, first thing we'll do is instead of using time, we'll use note values. So we'll make them 1/8 notes. Okay. Now, I'm still operating here on the sine wave. This is the key to this technique. Change from basic shapes to Euclid. I'm not sure what that is. First thing we'll do is we'll change the, the phase of this so that it's hitting directly on one of those sawtooths. I've got a number for that here. Where is that? That is going to be 352. So hold please. Here, 352. Nice syncopated rhythm just by opening and closing the filter. Hear that little click though? I'm going to get rid of that little click by using this parameter here. This adds, what I'm using is slew up, and I think what this is doing is it's just creating a little bit of a curve on that sawtooth. And what is my setting here? 6.9. Hear that pop? That little click isn't there anymore. It's softened that up a little bit. Nice. Now watch this. We also have a pulse parameter here. If I set this to 50%, it's basically chopping that sawtooth in half, subdividing it. Watch this. Nice. Got a little syncopated rhythm going here. I know you're skeptical. Let's hear how it sounds with the drums. I'll show you. Got a little breakbeat going here. This is from the Blue Martin Jungle sound pack. Chop that up. Killer, right? Okay. Hold please. Notice that these are chords and all the notes are played at the same time without touching anything at the LFO. Now remember, I got a little reverb going from Valhalla Supermassive, but there's no delay here. This is all being generated from the LFO. Watch this. If I go to this one here, notice what I have here. Same chords, but I have each individual note arpeggiated, not using the arpeggiator, right? I'm just literally offsetting each one of these notes by an eighth note. Listen to the way this sounds. Watch this one. We'll offset each note by a 16th. Go back to the first where they're hitting at the same time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. How about a different sound and a different rhythm? Let's go to this one. So here, all I'm doing is I'm doing inversion, just bringing the top value up, third in the bass now, and I've got a different pattern here on my LFO. Listen to the way this sounds. These block chords. LFO is doing all the work here. Uh-oh. Watch this one. We'll offset just the bass note and then play the chords. This is an amazing technique here. This is all sidebrain. This is not me. You can see the possibilities here of creating different sections to your tracks just by offsetting the notes a little bit. All right, go back to the first one. Now, let's layer it up with the other guy. I'll come come over here, I'll play the second patch. I've got a 1/8 note repeat going. This was one of those moments where sound design and beat making kind of merged, all from just playing some chords and letting Meld's LFO do its thing. I'm starting to realize that rhythm doesn't always come from the drums. Sometimes it's hidden in your synths in the form of ARPs. And that leads me to what I'm doing next week. I'll be jumping into hardware synths for the first time in decades. That's that guy over there. I'll do some sort of unboxing and we'll take a look at the new gear. So today, if this technique that I showed you sparked an idea or gave you something to try in your own tracks, let me know in the comments. And if you like this kind of process-based content, a like, a subscribe keeps me going. I'm Al Clark. This is the 5 Dot Loft. We'll see you next week.